How's it going, everybody? Today I have a special episode. I'm sitting down here with my friend Blake. He is a writer, creator, father, hardcore OG, and he's all around a great dude and someone who every time I see one of his videos, I either laugh, cry, or something in between, but nonetheless, I'll always feel something. And I think that he's also an incredible father and someone I look up to, someone who has a interesting relationship with my own pops. I think that Blake is a great person to watch online and, you know, someone that I feel like I would want to kind of grow into as I get older. So I wanted to sit down with him and extract some wisdom out of him. So welcome to Glue FM. This is 10 Words of Wisdom with Blake.
I feel like every adult should have some grounding principle that like defines kind of every other decision that they make. And mine happens to be pretty simple. It's just show up and don't be an asshole. And like, it's very simple, but like showing up has like layers to it. There's like physically showing up, like just go there. But there's also like being available, being present, paying attention, like all those other parts where you're like, oh, what it really means to show up for something, you know, being on time, being prepared, all of those things. And like physically showing up, that's like bare minimum. That's great. The more you can show up, the more it will pay off. And then don't be an asshole. That's also pretty straightforward. That's the bare minimum, right? But like I don't be an asshole can also be extended to actually be kind of nice, you know, right. Or whatever it is, or don't be the most rude person in the room. And for a lot of my life, a lot of my career, like I haven't been the guy who is the best or the most qualified or has the most experience, but I have consistently been the guy who shows up and isn't an asshole. And like most things in my life can be traced back to doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of like every sports coach I've had that's told me hard work beats talent when talent stops working hard.
Yeah,
like
dude.
That kind of methodology.
Yeah, the best ability is availability, right? Coachability. Yeah, for sure.
Do you feel like if you didn't feel like the best or super hyper talented at something right away, it made you do that even more? Like show up even harder because you wanted to get better? Oh,
for sure. Yeah. And like also like I think too often we go into situations like already defeated. Like you go in like, I'm already not the best guy. I'm already not whatever the thing is. Right. And so there's like kind of a mentality that you failed before you tried. By setting the bar relatively low, showing up and not being a dick, you're like, okay, cool. I checked the first two requisite boxes. Like I can go deeper now. I can get better now, etc. And so, yeah, I think that. And also what you'll notice is that, and not to be judgy or to look at other people, but you'll start to see how other people struggle with showing up and not being an asshole. Like, and how you're like, oh, wow, some of the more talented people, and I won't say it's because they are entitled because of their sense of their abilities or their talents, but these things are simple, but they are harder than than they appear. Like in parenting, I think also people have like, not to tie everything back to being a dad, but like people have these crazy expectations. Like I saw there's this viral video of like a trad wife making like the fig Newtons I'm gonna make for my kid, and it's just like from scratch. She's like grinding flour and shit, and like the comment at the top that like it's meant to be funny, but it like hits you in the gut. It says like it's got like, you know, thousands and thousands of votes of likes. It is I was a great parent too before I had kids. Yeah. And like, or I was a perfect parent before I had kids too. And I think with parents, they're like, shit, since I can't do that, like they already feel like a failure. And so often, like it starts with just showing up and not being an asshole. Right. And going from there.
The idea about someone doing that online too, I think that goes lost on some people sometimes, is it's easy to make time to make that from scratch when you're going to make a video about it and potentially benefit from it also, not just do it every day.
That's so huge that like nobody, like for the performative nature of like a content creator where it's like, yo, like Yeah, I have a video. I made gnocchi from scratch the other day, and people are like, "Oh my god, you made gnocchi from scratch!" I'm like, also, this is my job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, also, this is what I did that day.
Right.
So, take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly. It's even with my career, like outside of content, I can spend a week on a stupid thing I'm just gonna post online because it might matter later or something.
For sure, dude. Yeah.
All right. Let's get into the second
two
one. Yeah.
This is more practical, but also philosophical. Do not wear socks or underwear that have holes in them.
Okay.
You're good.
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you ever had a friend come over to your house and like maybe they crashed with you a couple of days, they didn't bring a clean pair of socks, whatever it is, and like, hey man, can I borrow socks? Whatever it is. You would never give that friend a pair of socks with holes in them.
Right.
Not necessarily because you're worried about the judgment that they would have of you that you own those socks, but because you're like, no, you're my friend. You deserve to wear nice things. Yet, when it comes to doing the same thing for ourselves, we're like, oh, I'll just let it slide today. Like, I'll just let it slip. It's okay. I'll wear these things that are not nice because whatever. It's not that big of a priority. And like when you make it a priority for yourself to like this small act of like self-care, this little bit of resistance, I think it's super important. There's something that my mom said to me one time where I came home for the holidays, had a pair of socks that had holes in them. And she's like, honey, like you can do better than that. And also like, dude, socks and underwear, like unless you're struggling very much financially, which is the case with people, but like before we recorded this, I looked it up. The underwear that I wear, pack of 3 is like $25. The socks that I have, like again, like a pack of 6, I think is like $20. And for most folks, that's an investment that you should be able to make in yourself. I mean, it is. I mean, I don't want to, money is money.
Yeah,
but
there's also underwear that's 10 for $20.
Right. And like every human being deserves to have that dignity in themselves. So yeah, it's a simple little thing, but it's also one of those things where like I find with a lot of things in my life, like the little things become the big things. So like not just like the way you do anything is the way you do everything, but like with like fitness, right? Like I'm very into working out and working out is just like a simple thing that you can kind of control, that once you do that one thing, you're like, well, I kind of don't want to eat like shit because I just did this workout, right? And then you're like, oh, well, I got up early to do this workout. What else can I get done today? Because like you kind of start getting momentum. And sometimes it's a small thing. Like I also struggle with depression and anxiety. And sometimes when I'm having a rough day, happens on Mondays a lot, where I'm like, oh shit, I got all this stuff I got to get done. And I sit down to do it. And like, it just becomes overwhelming. Yeah. And so I pick like small digestible tasks, like little wins to give me the momentum. So it'll be like literally just fold the pile of laundry that's on the bed. And then you'll sit down at the computer and then you'll be able to start doing these other things. And like, sometimes you got to give yourself a small win to get some momentum. Right. And for me, that's one of them.
That's like that whole make your bed thing, right?
Yes. Without like a bunch of shame and weird shit associated to you being like a good man. Right. Yes. Right. Yeah. Like
at the core though, it's good.
Yeah. Right. Jordan Peterson has gotten a lot of young men to make their beds, which is really great.
But you still should be nice to women.
Yeah. You still shouldn't be a weird transphobe. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
That's cool though. I knew, I do this sometimes like too. It's the other way. Right.
Yeah.
I go out, I drink, so then I have to eat some bullshit before I go to bed or else I'll wake up not feeling good. Yeah. But that also doesn't make me feel that great. Then I wake up later than I wanted to because I did that. Now I'm like, well, it's already 12. Like, should I even work at all?
Right.
You know?
Right. I totally get it. Yeah. It goes both ways sometimes, for sure.
You're sober, right? Or
yes.
Straight edge?
Yeah. I don't drink. I feel I can't claim straight edge anymore because I had a whole period of my life where I did drink, and I'm not sober because I don't really have a problem with alcohol or drugs. Right. It just doesn't work in my lifestyle right now. So like I just don't do it. The thing I say is like I've never every night that I'm like I kind of want to have a drink right now, I wake up the next day. I say, okay, cool. If you wake up tomorrow morning and you regret not having a drink, you should have a drink.
I see.
And so I wake up the next day and I'm like, no, I'm totally fine.
Special stuff. Maybe,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not, I probably will at some point in the future. It's just like, it's also kind of hard to quit quitting once you get some momentum. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I have a friend who is sober and they're all into like the scene too. So we're always like, oh, they're straight edge. He's like, I'm not straight edge because I really want to drink all the time. Like, it's not like something I did out of honor since I was bored. He's like, I had to stop, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, I get it.
I was edge until about 23. And then I sold out.
There's that whole meme online in that like niche community that's like, they're edge till they're 21.
Yeah.
It's like so easy,
For
right?
sure,
When
for
you
sure.
When you're not out,
Yeah,
you're not even allowed to yet or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. What's your, this third, right?
Grab my third one. Yeah.
I knew the socks was going to have a deeper meaning though than I thought.
Yeah. There you go. And so this is always remember who brought you to the dance.
Okay.
So this is like this is so corny, dude. It's my track coach in high school. But we would go to meets in track and you'd go like kind of fraternize with all the other schools and you'd be like, oh, this is really cool. Like I'm meeting all these other kids and like you're young and like your hormones are going crazy and like there's all these, you know what I mean? Like young fit people and you're like, oh, who's this? And my coach is like, yeah, that's totally cool. You can go talk to those people, but like don't forget who brought you to the dance. Like make sure you're cheering your teammates on and all this stuff. But it's this philosophy that I really like think about when it comes to like anything that I've done, like the people who support me, who help me, like when I got my black belt in jiu-jitsu, right? It takes about 10 years. I spent 3 or 4 of those years as a dad. So I had kids. And when I got my black belt, I said, remember, like anytime you see a parent on this mat, they are here by like the mercy, kindness, or service of another adult who is watching their kids. And so like anytime you see an adult out in the world, they're in the world because, a parent out in the world, they're out in the world because there's another adult who has taken responsibility for their kid in some way. And never forget just how grateful you need to be to the person who's doing that for you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and also just like anybody who supports you early on, like you're a pretty sizable creator now. I mean, we're both, you know, we do this, right?
Yeah.
There was a time when you were just getting started.
Yeah.
And those first few likes and follows, they meant so much more than than a lot of the likes and follows that I get now.
Of course. Yeah.
And it isn't to say that like those people mean more, but like I have friends who have just been my ride or dies from the jump. Yeah. Like literally the first comment, the first subscriber, the first, follower was like the 5 people that are my homies that I grew up with that are in the group chat that are like, hey dude, tell us how to support you. Like you did something cool. Tell us how to support you.
That's dope.
And so in my head, like I'm always grateful for those people. And it definitely like keeps me humble. Cause also like sometimes when shit doesn't go well, I'm like, well, those 5 guys still what I did, you know?
Yeah, it's true. And I had friends who would watch like my early videos on YouTube, like that were design based, like even more probably not applicable to them than anything I do now.
Exactly.
They're like, dude, I watched your video. I'm like, are you like, why? You did? Yeah. They're like, yeah, it's sick. I put it on my TV.
Yeah.
And I was like, but you don't know anything about this. They're like, it doesn't matter. It's cool. You made some shit.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope.
And like, I try to reciprocate when I can, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, this is like my second dance right now, you know? So
yeah,
you'll be the OG on that, right?
Dude, I'm happy to be here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, number 4 we got.
Number 4. Let's go. Don't pay twice. So
you said it like I already know. Like, oh, this one? Yeah, everyone knows don't pay twice.
So when I was younger, I was dating this woman who was really rich, and her family was super wealthy, and I was not raised super wealthy. And I went out to dinner with her dad, and we're like, the relationship's not going well. It's a doomed relationship to start off with. But I went back east with her to meet her parents, and I'd gone to Peru with this woman. I had we'd been together off and on for a couple of years anyway. So I'm back east. I'm meeting her dad. He's a very wealthy dude. He's done very well for himself, and he takes us out to dinner in Manhattan at this really nice restaurant. And I order something, and it's just not good. And I'm not gonna be weird about it. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, cool. Like it is what it is. Like it's not but it's, it's an expensive restaurant, it's an expensive dish. And her dad notices that I'm not eating. And he's like, do you like what you're eating? And I'm in that moment, for whatever reason, I'm honest. And I say, yeah, not really, but it's okay.
Yeah.
And he's like, let's get you something else. And I was like, no, man, I'm not going to make a big scene. He's like, no, it's fine. Like, we just send this back and we can get you something that you want. It's fine. And I was like, no, dude, like, I don't want you to. And then we're like, what if they charge you for the other dish? And he said, never pay twice. And I was like, I don't get it. And he's like, you're paying once with the money.
Uh-huh.
And the second way you're paying is by putting yourself through a miserable experience because you spent the money. And it's sort of like a sunk cost fallacy, where there are a lot of things in life that we're like, I'll just suffer through the shitty experience.
Yeah.
Because like I signed up. You know what I mean? I showed up for the thing instead of being like, oh, money's just money at some point, and it's not worth paying with having a miserable experience and suffering through this thing just because I feel guilty because I spent some cash on it.
Right.
Yeah.
I need to do that so I have a bad thing with that, right?
Yeah.
I don't ever return anything, like products.
Same. Yeah.
Because even though I can go to the UPS even and they'll ship it back to Amazon or whatever for free.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even make you send it back if you're on one of those giant sites.
Exactly.
But I'm like, my idea is like, oh, well, I took the L, I messed up. Like, I don't get samples at the ice cream.
Yeah.
I choose one. I'm like, I hope I fucking like it. Because if I don't, I'm going to eat it anyway.
Exactly, dude. Yeah. So
yeah.
that's, I find it's like a little thing, but it comes up a lot. You'll notice it for sure.
It does.
And also like, I think, we had similar upbringings. Like I didn't have a lot, like we grew up, I grew up scared of money almost. Like my relationship with it is like, it's something as an adult, I've had to like figure out. And it's one of those, where you're like, we just don't be wasteful. Like don't be ungrateful.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm like, okay, but it's also important that like, if you're paying for this, that you do enjoy it to some degree.
Yeah. I'm so grateful that I can even be like that lazy and be like, I'll just buy another one sometimes. Cause there was times where I'd be like, if I don't return this, I have to wait till that money comes back to even get the next thing.
Yeah. So exactly. All right. Next one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do it too whenever you think you're ready for your next one.
Okay. For my next one, this is pretty good. This is like from my mom. Yeah. And that's like, always take the call, but also understand that there is no free lunch. So always take the call. Unless this comes to dating, and then you should be very transparent about all of this, by the way. But always take the call means that even if you're like out, like even if you know you're not going to take an opportunity, you should still take the time to hear the person out. So like, I'm like happy with my manager right now. I'm really like, I love the way things are going. They're crushing it. But another manager hits me up and I'm like, okay, I will at least take the call with you. Because, but I'll be transparent. I'll be like, look, I'm not available. I'm really happy where I am right now, but I do want to hear you out.
I see.
It might not be that opportunity. Like whatever's going on in that whatever, that might not be the thing that happens, but I might know somebody else and I may be able to refer those people to them, or like it becomes a relationship that goes on and on and on, right? Like it's always good to have the relationship.
Yeah.
That being said, also, there is no free lunch. So what this means is like, people will invite you out to lunch a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like managers, business people, whatever it is, and they'll pay for your lunch. There is something they're expecting, right? They're not taking you out for a good time because they like you personally, right? Like there's some business incentive that they are interested in. And it's important that you know that before you're like, oh, this person's my friend.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
where like that's in like, this is a lesson I learned the hard way when I was young and in bands. My
Oh yeah, I bet.
my band was for better or worse, I say like we were as successful as you can be without actually being successful. Very early on, my drummer's dad had a lot of connections in like the industry, in music industry. And so, dude, we got taken out a bunch. And I was like, oh, these people are my friends. These people like my band. These people are telling me I'm going to be the next ... like rock star, whatever it is. This is awesome. And it's like, no, and then when things got bad for us, when things got rough, when we had a bad relationship with my drummer's dad and he pulled this kid out of our band and like shit went south, like,
oh damn,
all of those people, they were gone.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, they're not your friends.
Right.
And so again, I'm always taking the call. I'm always showing up and listening, but I understand that there's likely an agenda. And that doesn't mean they're bad people for having an agenda. It just means even so, I can be respectful of their agenda. You know what I mean? I could be like, maybe I can make sure that they're getting what they're at least getting to make their pitch.
Yeah.
Before I eat my lobster.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It's funny to think about that too with your band, because you don't even know what that dad was doing behind the scenes to probably make any of that stuff get done, you know?
We found out afterwards.
Yeah,
yeah. And which is why he ultimately got fired from, he was our drummer's dad, but he was a producer and he had a long history in the industry.
Oh, music producer?
Industry, yeah, music producer. But like stuff in the 80s and like early 90s, that isn't really relevant to us, but he had a lot of contacts. And then like our lawyer let us know, he's like, hey man, these are some of the things he's saying to people. And we were like, oh, that sucks. Yeah. And like we confronted him about it and he was like, yeah, I'm going to keep saying stuff like that. We're like, okay, well, we can't work with you anymore.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that same power can turn negative, right?
Yeah.
If this guy knows everyone, then he'll know everyone when he doesn't like you anymore.
But that's exactly what happened. Yeah. And like, dude, there's only, that was a rough lesson. For sure.
You're in your 20s, right? In that band?
Yeah, 18 to 23, 24. Okay. Yeah.
That's dope. What was it called?
It's called Life's All Over.
Was it like is it emo?
Or yeah, like a screamo band.
Yeah. It's like a kind of like a sick of it all type name, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And definitely heavily influenced. That was a big era of the 3-word name bands.
Right.
Like Trapped Under Ice, Boy Sets Fire, you know, AFI, A Fire Inside. Like we were all on that 3-word tip.
I noticed a lot of bands now, especially the ones that are like heavier, like almost like joke adjacent. It's always just one stupid word.
One word.
Volcano, tsunami. It's like natural disasters.
Incendiary, yeah, for sure. That's funny. All right, dude, we'll move on to the next one. This is like obvious because I'm a meathead and we're in my garage, but I think that it's really helpful to have a physical practice. And I come at this from a point of view of, this is a tricky one because there are a lot of people that have the same point of view, but they're like, oh, you have to be physically fit. Like you have to be in good shape. You have to know how to get your body into good shape. And I don't necessarily believe that. I think you need a physical practice because for me, dude, when I work out, it's almost like a familiar place. Like I know the sensation in my body. And I've known that sensation in my body since I was like 13 because I've been like working out since I was really young.
Yeah.
And it's almost like home. Like it's like a comfortable place, though it's physically uncomfortable, that I can go to be like, oh, I know this feeling.
Right.
Like when you climb, it's like a familiar feeling to you. And when you go to a climbing gym in another state, in another country, wherever it is, you're like, oh yeah, I know this feeling. I know this sensation. And you feel comfortable in a place that you wouldn't normally, that's out of your realm. So yeah, dude, I think having I think there's just so many benefits, dude. Like I've got a harness behind you over there. I climbed for years back in the day and
before it was cool.
And I'm able to relate to you on a level because I did a thing that you did. Now I don't know the contemporary world of climbing. Probably don't know a lot of the things that you know about climbing right now, but I at least can talk to you about some stuff.
Right.
And it gives us, like with a lot of things, like it gives us this conversation, this community that we can talk about. Obviously, like, I think it's important to be healthy. Like, I think that's important. But yeah, it has like all of these auxiliary benefits, but at the core, the reason why I do it is because it brings me back to a place that's like home, if that makes sense.
I think you need that too, because for me, why I like climbing specifically so much, I was a kid as well. Obviously, even when you're a kid, you work out by accident because you run around and shit, and you just do more physical stuff. But as I got older, like, I don't like lifting. My knee hurts a lot, so I don't really like running.
Yeah.
And I finally found something that not only is like fun, but it's just I accidentally become healthier and I accidentally get stronger and feel better.
You actually made this analogy on Instagram today or yesterday about like skateboarding.
Oh yeah.
Where it's just you're just stoked. It's just fun. And there are a lot of parallels. I think, did you grow up skateboarding or did you? Yeah. Okay. I've got, skateboards right here. I still skate. I love skating.
I've seen you hit the shove-its on the Instagram.
Dude, that's about all I got right now, dude. I got a group chat with a bunch of dads. We're all gonna have a game of skate.
You gotta record it.
Yeah. But they keep talking shit. They're secret practicing right now.
One of your boys is gonna come hit a tray flip.
For sure, dude. Yeah, but they're the thing. Yeah. Anyway, so but skating forces, I could wax poetic about skateboarding for hours, but one of the amazing things that it does is it forces you to see potential in things that the world has written off. Like loading docks, like sets of stairs, like ledges, like all of these little pieces of very practical architecture that was never meant to be artful. Like skateboarders see that and they're like, there's opportunity, right? Like I can do my art on that thing. The world is sort of written off. And like, you skate not to win at skating, right? Like nobody, like you skate for the pure like stoke. And like, I think climbing is similar, right? Like you can, you flash a high grade, you feel good. You're like, oh, that was dope. But also like, you don't do it because of that. It's the sensation. It's the whole feeling around it. It's like very similar. And then like, I just like climbing too, because it's like, it's very this creative thinking that's similar to skateboarding, where it's like, there's this weird surface that the world will just sit and look at from a distance. And like, you're like, no, let's go do something with it, which I think is super cool.
Someone commented on that video that I think on the YouTube, and they were saying the reason they agree that it's the most that is you can be, ollying off a curb or like, laser flipping a 10 stair or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you're doing it over and over and people notice, like they're going to be equally as excited because you did what was hard for you. It doesn't matter that someone else can do like this insane thing.
Yeah. That's so true. And it's true because if you ever watch those like viral videos of like a 6-year-old girl landing her first kickflip, I fucking cry, dude. Like it overwhelms me. I'm like, because it's just such a relatable moment, It doesn't matter.
That whole video about the
Jocelyn,
tray
dude,
flip.
Yeah, that was a big moment for dads across the internet.
That's delayed gratification. It manifested right there.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That was sick.
Yeah. I'll move on to my next. This is,
what is it, 7 or 8?
We are 7.
Okay.
Yeah. Becoming an expert in your own experience. So like, I think I may have phrased this in a weird way, but like in the world of parenting, there's a thing, and certainly as a content creator, there's this thing that happens where you're a guy, you make stuff on the internet, people start watching that stuff, they start following you, you build a platform. And because of that platform, people ascribe a certain amount of authority to you that may not be earned. At that point, I'm only kind of an expert at making videos on the internet about parenting. I'm not actually an expert in parenting. And I think it's very important to remind yourself that often the only thing you are an expert in is your own experience.
For sure.
But that doesn't mean that that's not important. Being an expert in your own experience is very important. that's like the most important thing. Being like, I can speak on authority about the way I live my life and about the things that I've seen and about the way I've experienced things. And so living in your life and living in your own existence with that authority of like, okay, cool. Like we're here, we're showing up. You're an expert in your own experience. That's okay. But it stems from people asking me for advice. And like, you'll notice that any of this wisdom that I've given you is rooted in a story in my real life,
right?
Where I'm like, hey, this isn't the truth. These are the things, these are the tools that I have acquired in order to make being an adult less scary.
Yeah.
So becoming an expert in your own experience is, in my opinion, like, yeah, that's like, or understanding that the only thing you are an expert in is in your own experience is very helpful.
I like that.
Yeah.
Howie's or you hit him with but I don't know, after you say like
but I don't know,
a 10-minute thing.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. I don't know, but I don't know. That's just my opinion. You know
I get,
what I mean?
because yeah, especially you know this as well. Doing stuff online specifically, people all the time will, not all the time, but here and there I'll get comments like, but you like, how can you do this? Like you didn't work here. You never did this. Like, are you actually good at whatever thing, like some requirement I had to do to be able to say like, this is how you do something. And I always tell those people, I don't know, but like it works. So like, what do you want me to say? Like, I'm just trying to show you something that works for me.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll work for you. If not, then just don't do it.
It's funny because I teach jujitsu, right? A couple nights a week, and I've been doing jujitsu for a really long time. And you'll show a technique, and that is the first question. Like you'll always, every class you have some kid who's like, or somebody in front who's like, yeah, but like, what if this, and then that, and then this won't work. And you're like, hey man, in this context, given all the things we talked about, this will work. Let's try it first. And then we'll talk about like the, whatever it is,
Right.
But, but I can totally relate to that because it happens all the time.
Do you, that's like your main thing right now, right? For physical is jujitsu.
Yeah.
And then you do like the work, just like kettlebell shit.
Yeah,
and all
I
that, right?
lift, and then I do like I'm on the Peloton a couple times a week too, just to keep my cardio.
Do you
up.
have to do that stuff in order to jujitsu like effectively?
No, so like what's cool, actually I do.
Yeah,
but like not everyone does. What's cool about jujitsu is it's you find your own sort of way of doing things depending on your like physical abilities and limitations. And the way I like to play that game is pretty physical and it's pretty athletic. And so like I have to maintain a certain level of physicality and athleticism. I don't have to, but I like to in order to play the way that I want to play. It also helps me from getting too injured. If I'm stronger, I feel better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that thing you were talking about where stuff compounds. Like I've been working out more because I'm noticing like all the climbing's like pull.
Yeah.
And I need to do push workouts or else like my entire body is just shriveled in like this.
You get your
My
turtle
chest.
shell. Yeah, for sure.
So it is, that stuff does compound. And it's that whole thing where it's like, damn, like I hate that when I eat healthy and work out, I feel better because that's what everyone tells you to do.
Yeah, it sucks.
And you don't want to, but it works.
Yeah, that's funny, dude, because like, yes, exactly. And so like sometimes like that's it. It's like a little win will go a long way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All right, my next is always be curious. I'm a strong believer. I didn't come up with this. John Green did. But anything is interesting if you pay it enough attention. And like people ask me all the time, like, hey dude, like where do you find inspiration? Like how do you post every day? Like how do you where do you get these stories from? And it's like, it comes from a like desperate desire to connect. So my mind is constantly looking and asking questions and like prying about the world around me. And like, for me, that's just like, it's become the most effective tool as a writer and as a storyteller is just to constantly be curious. My grandparents lived on this farm in Arkansas, right? Middle of nowhere. And when I was a little kid, I would go there and just be bored out of my mind, dude.
Yeah.
Like, right. Like I just want to play with my Nintendo or whatever it is. And like, not like I want to go skateboard. It's like dirt road off a dirt road, like in the middle of nowhere. And then as I got into my late teens and early 20s, like I started noticing things. Like I started noticing like my grandpa's woodworking, and like I started noticing like, and then now I have so many questions, dude. Like I had questions then, and I would start to ask the questions, and I was like, oh wow, this place that I thought was just endlessly boring, if I like approach it with some curiosity, is fascinating. Like there's all this shit here. And like now, like my grandparents are all dead and the farm's been sold. And it's like, dude, it's just gone. So for me, it's like that curiosity and that paying attention to things is like, there's never been a time, that's not true. It's mostly never been a time where I've been curious and it hasn't paid off.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, what sucks too is, I don't know, it depends on everyone's like kind of upbringing and stuff, but I always felt that way, and like you kind of get punished for that in like schooling and stuff.
Totally.
They're like, I think when you ask people too many questions at a job, at school, they think that you're like questioning why it should even be done. Like you're going against their authority. Yeah. But I'm just like, oh, I want to know how it works so I can do it right or do it well or learn this cool thing. But they're like, just do it. Don't ask questions. And I think that's dangerous because that'll take away from being like what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree. I did terrible in school for a myriad of reasons. But I was one of those kids where I wanted to talk. I wanted people to talk to. I wanted to be engaged, and like, I had questions, you know? Yeah. And once as a kid, once you get punished for that a couple times, you just check out, dude. Yeah. And you're like, no, I'm not going to put my neck out there ever again. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's brutal.
It's like you have so much shame now into that.
For sure, dude.
I was one of those kids that like the kind of, what do you call it? The juxtaposition of it was I had always good grades, like A's and B's, but always like U citizenship or whatever. Okay. Like, so I always hung out with the people that were in trouble, but I would do the work. I'd be bothering kids, and the teacher would say, hey, like, blah, blah, are you done? I'm like, yeah. And I knew all the answers there. And I'm like, I'm just talking to him. And they're like, yeah, but they're not. Like, you're bothering them. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to just sit here for 30 minutes.
Man, it's weird as a parent. Like, you really become aware of that dynamic, like of the fact that a teacher has to teach to a huge skill level of difference, right? And then also different upbringings, different backgrounds, different things that are going on at home. Real. And as a parent, it's weird, dude. You like have this crazy, like, I'm also in a position where my kid has a really good teacher right now. And like, he's also doing really well. So you're like, oh man, that's incredible that she's able to manage all of this stuff. And then when a teacher's bad, you're like, you just realize how crazy important the job of a teacher is and how they handle those situations. When your kid comes home and they're like my kid's doing stuff now that is just leaps and bounds ahead of where I was when I was his age. And I'm like, oh,
do you think that is like universal or no? Like with kids now?
Oh, that they're all just smarter than me when I was a kid? Yeah.
Not you, but do you think we're like, that makes me feel hopeful? Like, do you think we're getting progressively smarter or no?
I hope so. Yeah. I don't know. Certainly there are certain things that like, my kid's just really sharp with, and I'm like, oh wow, that's super impressive. Yeah, I don't know. I like that optimism. I'd like to think that. Yeah, for sure.
It sucks too. Like, I'll bring it back to something negative though. You said is it sucks to think that this is true. There are bad teachers. Like, you would like to. Everyone's bad at certain job, right? Yeah. You'd like to think everyone's good, but they're not.
What, dude? You're a grown up. Yeah. I'm a grown up. You know people that you grew up with who are teachers now. Yeah. And you're like, what? It happens. My wife and I talk about this all the time. Like, no offense to my lawyer friends, if you happen to make it this far in, but like, I know a lot of lawyers, and like 10 years ago, I was like, you were not a person who should be a lawyer. Yeah. And like, there's never a person in my life who I've been like, oh, you would make a good lawyer. And they are a lawyer. Right. And you're like, wow, you are bestowed with a massive amount of just legal responsibilities. Terrifying. All right, dude, here we go. Fluency is more important than currency. So to be fluent in something is more important, or is more valuable than being able to buy your way into that experience. So good example of this is like, well, I went to college late. I went to college when I was in my like mid 20s because of touring and stuff with the band.
Okay.
And also because I just despised school and I was terrible at it, as I've brought up.
Yeah.
And when I was 18, I was like, hey man, we just tried 12, 13 years of this. Didn't go well. I don't think another year is going to fix it, you know? Like,
Yeah.
And so I didn't go to school. But I had this insane experience of touring in a band and like literally visiting almost every state in the continental United States and like, you know, sleeping on floors and all that stuff, right? And I remember my first one of my first media studies classes at Berkeley, when I got into Berkeley finally, my professor was talking about like communication and like the power of, at the time we were talking about the power of the newspaper, how the newspaper allowed us to be a massive nation because for the first time people were able to imagine other parts of the country, right? So they would read the newspaper and they'd be like, oh, this is what's going on in New York. New York is America. We're all Americans, even though they lived in California, right?
Right.
It's this idea called imagined communities. And she's like, I mean, anybody like in this room, like who here has even driven across America? And like a room of 300 students. And I raised my hand.
Yeah.
And she was like, I remember this professor, we became friends afterwards. She's like, this fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then she's like, well, okay, like, why did you drive across America? And I was like, oh, I was in a band. And like, at that point, I had all of this crazy shame around like not having enough money, about like most of these people had just gone to UC Berkeley out of high school.
Yeah.
And like I had to go to community college for 2.5 years. I had to start at a fucking like remedial English, remedial math, like high school level, right?
And you're older than most people?
I'm older than most of these people. Yeah. They all crushed it. Came from these households or whatever it is. And I was super insecure around them all the time. And in that moment, when I raised my hand and I was like, yeah, I actually drove across the country a lot in this band. And I realized like, whoa, that is so much cooler. Yeah. Like, that is so much more valuable than any of the money that brought these people into this room. There was an ad for ChatGPT where it's this cute couple and they asked ChatGPT like, hey, ChatGPT, book a road trip for us. And it's like a sweet romantic video. And like, it's like, yeah, I'll go to the Grand Canyon, go whatever, blah, blah, blah. But dude, they're never going to tell you to go to Nikki Tahoe's in fucking Rochester, New York and get a garbage plate. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just these, and me being able to talk about that gives me a currency with people that's authentic. I would not know my wife had I written in ChatGPT like, hey, ChatGPT, book a tour of America for me for my band. Right. Instead, like we were sending cold emails to people. And like the way I met my wife years ago was we sent her a message on MySpace being like, hey, is there any venues in your city that you can book for us? And she's like, well, I'll see what I can do. And if you want to, you can stay at our house. Yeah. And like we have this whole life together that is a result of this sort of like serendipitous experience. And because of that, like, again, like I have currency, like I understand all of these different parts that like, had I had money, had we had a big label behind us paying for us to book our tours for us, to book hotels for us, I never would have had this experience that I have now. I never have this life that I have now. That isn't to say that it's like, I would say it is better. I would say you can relate to more people with that. Again, like another example, we went to Switzerland. You and I had probably a top 1% experience. We got on a plane, a direct flight. Well, you and I flew from here to New York.
Right, yeah.
Then we got on a plane and we flew from New York to Switzerland, where we met guides from the Swiss Tourism Board, who like held our hands up the side of a mountain. We stayed in these awesome hotels and everything about that experience was perfect, dude. Elite, right? However, when I meet other friends and I'm like, hey, you should go to Switzerland. And they're like, yeah, what should I do? How should I do? I'm like, you're never going to have the experience that I had. You know what I mean? Yeah. So in that situation, we had this insane experience. It gives you and I a lot of currency together. Right. But it does limit us in our ability to relate to people. And that's a great one where you're like, oh yeah, like, and again, amazing experience. I wouldn't write it off. I wouldn't say it's not valuable.
I'll go again if you want.
Yeah, let's go. And that Fabio, hit me up, dude. But yeah, so it's just this interesting, that was a good example of like the other side where you're like,
Right.
oh yeah, we had this amazing experience. However, it's not like, when I was a kid backpacking in hostels in Europe and sleeping on, literally in train stations and things like that, where you're like, oh, let's just do it. Like, fuck it, like we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I can't tell someone that wants to go there like, dude, just go to Leukerbad and get a private bus or whatever it was.
Yeah. Insane experience.
I agree with that entirely, but it was so cool to travel and not think about anything for once.
Unreal, dude.
Because I like the planning. I like doing things myself, but I was like, oh, it does add a lot of like pressure onto the situation.
Yes. And to dude, like that was, again, like it is that was one where I went to I was a late invite.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Second round draft,
Yeah.
And I went to Becca. I was like, hey, my friend Danny just called me. He has an all expense paid trip for me to go to Switzerland. It's in like 2 weeks.
All right.
Is that gonna like, and she's like, you can't say no to that. Like
that's good. That's like what you were saying earlier though. If you have that, you need someone to know that they're going to handle shit.
Oh, yeah.
So you can do that, right?
Yeah, she rocked it. And it's like, we have, dude, so lucky in my marriage. Like we have one thing that people don't tell you about getting married. And like, I hope that this is true with your marriage as well, is that like, I have a teammate.
Yeah.
And like most of your life before you get married, you're going through life as a free agent.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, I hope this works out for me, whatever it is, you're on your own. Like there's just so many things that you even won't do for yourself that you're not interested in. Once you're part of a team, you will do things to the benefit of the team that you would never do for yourself.
Yeah.
And
100%.
Right. And it's like, and there's a lot of, and I think there's something really cool about that. And that's like something I was just thinking about this weekend where I went to the park with my kids and my big guy lets me know in the car on our way home. He's like, dude, I gotta pee. And I was like, okay, cool, man. And I could just call Becca and be like, hey, babe, can you make sure the back door is unlocked when we get home? Because it's going to be like a beeline straight to the bathroom. And like just a little thing like that is like, oh, I got a teammate, who can like do something. And that's like the amount of stuff she does every single day. But like, yeah, it's one of the most, I think, cool things about marriage.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm like rambling.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
That currency thing I love the fluency, because even what you're doing now, like I'm sure you would have been loved to do what you're doing now 10 years ago also, but you wouldn't be able to make up all these stories and all these cool things because you would just be the guy who made videos forever. So like you would never have that thing like, hey, in 2020 or 2012 or whatever, I was at this gas station and this happened or whatever.
100, dude, I'm so lucky I never got famous until now. It's so weird, dude. I'm so lucky my band wasn't successful. I'm so lucky when I started vlogging in 2016, nobody watched my fucking vlogs.
I love seeing you post those.
I know, they're awesome. It's fun to see a younger, fresher faced me, but like it's hard for that person. Like somebody asked me the other day, like, what would you tell yourself? And I would tell myself, hey, this isn't going to be the thing. Yeah. But you need to keep doing it. Mm-hmm. And like, that sucks. And like, I have the insight now looking back. So lucky, dude. So lucky that because I was probably an asshole. I probably wouldn't have handled it well. Yeah. And two, because like every experience has given me this perspective, and also like having a family, it puts me in a position where I can't make terrible decisions. Yeah. And like, because of that, like
some guardrails for you.
100%, dude. That's it. Yeah.
I always, this is a smaller timeline, but I always tell my friends I'm glad I didn't make videos in college or until I was like, prefrontal cortex or whatever, because I feel like I would have got like canceled or something. And I wouldn't even know why it was bad. I'd be like, you can't say that or you can't do that.
Well, dude, which like, not to be this guy, but like to bring us to the last point is you're never beyond fucking up. Like you're never beyond making mistakes. And it's cheesy, but it's like, it's about being available to learn from the mistake that you made. I mess up all the time, dude. I especially as a parent, man, like you make mistakes, and it is so much about not sitting and dwelling in the mistake, because oftentimes your kid has moved on.
Yeah.
And so like you're still sitting in that shitty feeling of guilt and self-doubt and whatever. And like you can rectify it with the kid pretty quick. Being able to rectify it with yourself and move forward is the skill. Obviously there are certain things like that are beyond the pale that you just never do. But for most things, most mistakes are pretty recoverable.
Yeah.
So long as you can forgive yourself and move on and learn, right? And like that, like with creation, with things I did when I was younger, with like my whole life, like a lot of it has been like, and it's also really important to walk into situations with a certain sense of humility. My peers on the internet are significantly younger than me, most of them. Like I'm in a rare group who is...
I'm that way. So I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, for sure, dude. But because of that, like it would be insane of me to not treat them with respect as my peers just because they're younger than me.
Right.
Which is funny because like we'll go to things and I think it's almost like disarming where I'll be like talking to them as though they're my contemporaries. And they're like, dude, you're 42. Yeah. Like, I'm like, yeah, I know, but we have the same job. Right. Ultimately. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're doing similar things. And so there's some things where I have a certain wisdom about it. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Cause like I've been, paying my own bills since I was 18. Yeah. But then there's other things where I'm like, hey, like you have actually been in video production like significantly longer than I have. Like you actually know the pieces of this much better than I do. I'm going to need your advice. And I'm not above being like, even though you're literally 20 years younger than me. Yeah. You were the expert here.
In their own experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, there you go. Exactly. Pull it back. Yeah. So
I love that. I think, and it's so sick too to see people that like, there's a, bad thought. Sometimes I'll get like, damn, I can't believe they're this good already. I wasn't this good. Yeah. But then when I flip it, I'm like, no, that's so sick. Yeah. Like, kids are just getting better and better at shit at a younger age.
To be clear, I have that thought all the time where I'm like, no fucking way. But then I'm reminded that like, wait, if this would have happened to me at that age, I would have been a disaster.
It's all good when it should be, right?
You know what I mean? But like, don't get me wrong. I am not above that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Dude, that was great. I appreciate all of those. And I knew it was going to be exciting when you sent me that list on the email. If anyone else wants to check out Blake too, Blakeoftoday on Instagram. He posts a bunch of sick Instagram reels. Like I said, they always make you feel something. Might not always be good, but you're gonna like it. It's gonna be a good sad, or a good happy, whatever it is. But thank you, man.
Dude, thank you for your platform and for your time, and anybody who's made it this far. Like, I really appreciate you, and thank you for taking a risk on me on one of these early drafts, dude. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, dude.